Hello, welcome to Just Prime. As part of this video, we are going to see some of the new terminologies like Claude AI Desktop, MCP Server, MCP Protocol. So, what is these terminologies? How we are going to use it? First of all, before understanding the Claude AI Desktop or Model Context Protocol, first let's see what is MCP Server. So, how to build this one. So that we are going to understand it. So what is MCP server? So let me give a brief, a small definition about the MCP server. So MCP means model context protocol. So MCP server, by using MCP server, we can able to expose tools with the help of tools like database connection or file system which is available in your machine, or any additional connectivity which we can do some of the activities from your machine. So all these things we can able to expose with the help of a tools at the rate of tool specific to Spring. What we are going to use it. So by using these tools we can able to build the MCP server, and we finally we are going to expose these tools to the AI models. So let's come back to the what is the Claude AI. So Claude AI, which is having a variety of LLM models which is built by Claude people, Anthropic, and this can be used to connect to the MCP server to get the relevant data based on the query what we are trying to, what user is trying to ask. So how this Claude AI desktop will connect to the MCP server? So that we are going to use the model context protocol, MCP. So what is this MCP? So MCP means model context protocol. It's a new open way to connect to the MCP servers, the tools which is defined. So MCP server means it's a new open standard. It's defined by Anthropic, and that allows AI models like Claude AI or Chat GPT or any other LLM models to access or connect to your tools or database or API which is exposed by a Spring AI. So that's the benefit of the Claude AI desktop. To connect to the tools which is defined by MCP server, we are going to use the open standard which is defined by model context protocol. So this is one of the protocol we are going to use. Claude AI will use more MCP protocol and will try to connect to the MCP server. From there we are going to access the tools which is defined inside the MCP server. So that's the meaning of this terminology: MCP server and Claude AI desktop and MCP protocol. So to understand and to see a simple example, first what I'm going to do, I'm going to build a simple MCP server by using the Spring AI. So let me build that one first. So now I'm in a Spring Initializer project. If you see, right, so I already filled some of the details. I'm using the Java project, and I'm using the Maven, the latest version of Spring Boot, and JDK 25. So these are the properties I have just selected. So to create MCP server by using the Spring AI, we have to add the MCP context. So model context protocol server. So you can add it, and then this is one dependency is enough to create MCP server by using the Spring AI. So let me download it. Yes. So now the project is downloaded. I imported the project what is got created with the help of Spring Initializer. We can see this project I have imported into IntelliJ. It's up to you. You can import this project into your favorite IDE. So now let me show you the project, some of the details, what's available. And we come back to the pom.xml. So what we have added one dependency. So that's MCP server, so model context server. So this is what we have added as a MCP server. So remaining things are the Spring Boot standard dependencies. Now let me show you the SRC. So inside the SRC we have a default project. So this is one of the default project which is available, default main class. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a simple my service. So I'm going to create just prime case mgmt service. So I'm going to create a new class called a just prime case management service. So what is this service? What is the use of this service? So by using this class, I'm treating as a service class. So this is one of the service I have built it. So inside the service, I'm going to create a various tools which will be useful to manage or to manage different activities like creating case or get the case details, edit case details, or get all the case lists. That these many different tools we are going to create it. So first let me create a simple tool for to create a case. Create case. So what I'm going to do here, I just defined a simple method called create case. So what it will take, case description. So what it will do, it will take a description and then it will create a case, and this case details. After that, once creating the case, I'm going to return the case details back. Okay. Before creating the case, right, I want to create this class, but right now this case is not there, case details. So let me create the case details first. So this is the case details. So inside this I'm going to define some of the uh, simple fields like case id, case description, and create a date. So let me add it. So these are the some of the fields I have added. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create setter getter for this one. So let me add it. So now I just included setter getter method, and now come back to the case management service. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to write a simple um, implementation part which will take the description and which will create the case details. Let me implement it. Now we can see the create case API I have implemented. So by taking the data, but here in this case we are not using any database to store the case details, but we are trying to use a global hash map. So there we are going to store the details. Now let me add the main part. So we have to treat this function as a tool. So inside the tool we have to define name, we have to give the name, what's the purpose of name, and we have to give some description what this a tool will do. Okay, so let me add these details. Now can come back. So I just populated the name and description. So the name is like API name, and kind of next one is some description. What it will do, it will take the description and it will try to create the case. So that's about the a simple tool called create case. Now case creation is done. Now I'm going to create a second tool I want to create, that's called get case details. So let me add that one. Now I have just included another API or tool called get case details. What it will do, it will take case ID and it will try to fetch the case details from the hash map which is available, right? So that's about the second tool. Okay, so now let me add another tool or third tool called update case details. So now I have included another API or another tool called update case details. What it will do, it will take case ID and it will take the case status and it will try to update the case which is available. In case if the case is not available, it will just try to return null. So this is another tool. So totally we have included currently three tools. One is create case, get case details, update case details. Okay, now let me add the last tool which is will be how to get the all case details which is available. Okay, so let me add another API get case list. Now let's see, I just added another last API or fourth API called get case list. What it will do, it will try to get the available case list from the map and it will convert that map as a list and it will try to return. So totally we can see we have included four APIs or four tools, and these four tools we are going to expose with the help of MCP server to the model so that LLM models can able to access it. So to make it available these tools, what we have to include as a tool list into the bean. So let me add that one. So if you come to the Spring main class, what you have to do, we have to make a list is available, a list of the tools, right? For that we have to write a bean. So to allow or to access all the tools which is available inside your services, you have to expose as a tool callback as a list, and this tool callback should get the all the necessary tools which is defined. So that's why you can pass your a service object. In case if you have any another object, you can pass as a separated by a list, so that all the services tools can be exposed as a tool callback list to the MCP server. So this MCP server will be accessed by Claude AI models via MCP protocol. So that's the first step. The first step we have done, we have built the MCP server, and inside the MCP server we have defined various tools, and this MCP server we are exposing as a tools callback at the entire service. Entire service in the sense the inside the services whichever is tools are available, this can be accessed by AI models. So this is the first step, right? The second step what we have to do, we have to configure the Claude AI desktop. Okay, before generating the MCP server, what we have to do, we have to configure some of the parameters inside the application properties. So that's one of the important one. So let me configure it. If you see inside the your Spring AI, we have mentioned only one property which is application name, but we have to configure some of the additional parameters. Let me add it. Inside your Spring AI application, we can see property file, and inside that we have to configure these are the some of the properties. Let me tell you what is this. If you see the first property, Spring AI MCP server type, so we have to make it sync so that if there is any changes inside your server side, it can be recognized by external model. So that's the main purpose of Spring. And this is server name, you can give any name. So let me give the server name same as my application name. Okay, so that's about the your MCP server name, this MCP server name and version, right? And now we are not going to expose this as a web application, so that's the reason we are making this as a none, right? And the third one is we are don't want to display any banner, and we don't want to display any logs. That's it. And if you want to generate any logs out of it, you can keep the logs inside that. So that's some of the parameters we have to define inside your Spring AI application. After this you can generate a jar. Okay, now let me generate a jar from this. Select the project, you can do maven clean install and then run it, and let's see the jar. So you can see the jar is generated, and which you can able to find the jar inside the target folder. So this jar we need to configure at the Claude AI desktop so that it will recognize the server. So let me come back to the Claude AI desktop. So right, so in case if you don't have Claude AI desktop, you can able to find the link, it is the video description how to install it. Okay, so you have to install the Claude AI desktop. In case we don't have it, you can just try to follow the link which is available in the video, so then you can able to install it. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to configure the service which we have built it as part of the uh, Spring AI. So this is our Claude AI desktop. You can go to the icon and come back here and go to the security icon settings, and you can see that there is a developer is there. So you just click on that, edit config, and you will be landing to the location where it got installed. So if you see there is a config file Claude AI desktop, so let me open this one. So by default this desktop don't have any details. So what we have to do, we have to configure this desktop, and we have to point this configuration where the jar is currently available, meaning the Spring AI jar. So let me add the changes. So now we can see I just configured the Spring Claude AI desktop config JSON with the proper details. Let me explain you this one. If you see there is MCA server, so you can configure here inside your MCP servers. What's your MCP server details? You can give any name as per your wish, and what kind of application you are building as MCP server. So now I'm build as a Java, so I'm going to use Java jar, and then I'm going to run this jar. So let me add my, so now I have corrected the path to my jar where is currently it's running, right? So these are the changes you have to do. You have to define the server name and what kind of technology you are using. Accordingly you have to pass the commands how to run the jar, right? So this is the second step. You have to configure the Claude AI Desktop, which is pointing to the MCP server, right? Now let me come back to the Claude AI Desktop, and now if you see here, right, so if you go back here at the chat, come back here, it will not display any server. So what you have to do, you have to restart your Claude AI Desktop. So let me do that. So now we can see two things. First, let me verify the register service. If you see, right, so there is one thing we can see, the service MCP service or server jar, we can able to see it, right? So the name what we can see here, MC Spring A MCP server demo, so that we can see here, right? So whatever name we had given, right, so that is one thing. So that means the MCP server got registered with your Claude AI Desktop, right? So this is one thing we have to verify. And the next thing, come back here, go to the settings part, and then come to the connectors. So you can see here again the MCP server which got registered with the uh, Claude AI Desktop, that we can see it. So if you want to see a little bit more specific to this server, how many tools are available, so that we can see it, right? So get case details, update case details, create case, get all cases. So these are the four tools or APIs are integrated as part of the MCP server, right? So that is one thing. And if you see here, right, so what is this, there are, we can see some symbols when you are asking for the, or when Claude AI is trying to connect these APIs or tools, then do you need any approval, so we can see that one when we are trying to access it. Okay, so that's the reason when you are trying to access this one, so it will ask for approval, do you need to approval or not? So that's the configuration we can enable, but by default everything we are just make it need an approval, so needs an approval, so that we are going to see it. So now come back to the general part. Now go back to the chart part. Okay, let's go back, you can close it, or let me open it. Okay, so now go to the chart. Okay, let me open a new fresh chart. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to start creating a simple case. Let me ask, create a case for employee ID last with emp id 234. You can give some id, so I'm trying to create a case for an employee id last with an employee id 1. So let's see what will happen. So what is happening, it is trying to create a case, but it is asking me an approval, can I create a case? So the first time, so just say allow. So that means a case got created with the case id 91081 and some of the details what we have provided, and the case by default is active, and it was created on November 15th. If you want to see the case details, let me ask you, get case details with id. What is the id? So this is the id, it got created. You can pass and you can ask for the details. So let's see, again it is asking an approval for every API. When you are calling first time, it will ask for the approval. So then you can give an approval, then it will try to fetch the details, and it will ask for the with proper details, right? So similar way you can create case, you can fetch the case details by passing the case id, and if you want to fetch all the details, get all case list. So this is another API which contain all the case list. Again it is asking for the approval. Let's go for it, and it is trying to display the case list. So this is the third API we are trying to call it. So now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create 5 or 6 cases by passing 5 to 6 different case details. Let me do it. So I'm going to pass 1 2 3 4 5. I'm going to create 5 different cases, multiple cases. I want to create it at the same time. So let me create it. So it is trying to create cases, right? See how many cases it got created? We can see. So all the cases got created, 5 cases, right? So we can see the case details, right? So that case details it got created, it returned all the things back. If you want to see all the cases, how many cases currently available, so get all cases. So these are the cases are available, and we can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 cases. Okay, 6 cases are available. We can able to create one case independently, or we can able to create multiple cases independently. When you are trying to create multiple cases, what is happening? It is trying to call create case. It is trying to call a create case multiple times. See, 5 cases it called 5 times. So that's the backend. It will happen as an agent. It will try to call the create case multiple time. Okay, so based on the user request. Now what I want to do, I want to update a particular case status to active or closed. How to do that one? Because we have an API, we have already built API or tool. If you come back to the case details, we had seen how to use the case create case, and we have seen how to fetch all the cases, and we have seen how to get a specific case details. Now we are going to see how to update a case details by passing the case ID. So let me come back to the Claude desktop. Now I'm going to update a first case ID. You can take any case, but just an example, I'm just going to take the first case. Update case status to closed for ID. So what I'm trying to say, you want to update case status to closed for this case ID. You can give any plain English. Let's see what will happen. So this close case or update case we are trying to call first time. So it is asking for approval. Go for it, and let's see what will happen. So the case updated successfully, and it's just giving back the case details normally. Now what you want to do, if you want to see the case detail full case list again back, just go here and just rerun this command, and let's see what will happen. So we can see the case got closed. Now let me close another case to different state. Update case to DFFE or deferred of case ID. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to update the case, a specific case to deferred, right? Let me do it. So the next time when you are trying to call second time, it will not ask for the approval, right? So that's the beauty of the Claude AI Desktop. How you configured accordingly, it will try to ask for the approval, and it will try to invoke the MCP Server APIs. So now we can see there is one case got closed and another case got deferred, and let me do another case got in progress. I want to make the status as in progress of case ID. This is the one I'm trying to update the last case status to in progress, and let me do it. So now we can see the case status got updated to in progress, and let me fetch all the details. Either you can type here get all cases, get all cases. Let's see the final results with the modified results. So we can see in the last case what we have done, we have modified that status to in progress, and it's trying to give some summary like total cases 6, active cases 3, and one is in progress, and deferred case is one. So this is the way we can able to use, or you can able to connect to your MCP server, and with that we can able to access a specific tool or API, and we can able to perform the action. So this Claude AI Desktop is connecting to MCP server via MCP protocol. So this is open-ended protocol. So with that, this Claude AI models or any chat GP model or LLM models will connect to the MCP server, and it will try to use the corresponding tool or API based on the user request. So that's the main advantage of the Claude AI Desktop. How we are going to connect to the MCP server via MCP protocol, and based on the user query, and this Claude AI models or any LLM models which will take a decision to connect or to pass the query to the a specific tool which is configured at the MCP server side. So that's the main advantage. If we see, let me give some more details about this Claude AI Desktop. If we see the Claude AI Desktop side, as currently we can see there are three different LLM models are configured, and currently it is trying to use the like 4.5, and we can see there is another models. So currently I'm using the free version, so I'm not eligible to use 4.1, but I can use as a demo purpose 4.1. So this is the way you can use whichever models are available at your cloud desktop side, and you can connect to the MCP server which is configured at your desktop side. Accordingly, you can able to make a call and activate or invoke a specific tool. So that's the way LLM models dynamically will take a decision to connect to the models, and which will fetch the data, right? So that's the main advantage of the LLM models, which is configured at the Claude AI Desktop, which will invoke to the MCP server, right? I think that's all about this video. If you like the video, you can subscribe the channel for more subsequent updates, and thank you.